my name is Sarah, and I just love to talk about movies. And besides the horror genre, which is my favorite, science fiction, right under there. I love to see how people imagine the future to be. Sometimes the future looks more like the past, and sometimes the future really seems totally out of reach. And in this case, we got a bit of both going on. So today we're going to talk about The Creator. The Creator is about a person who is supposed to be the one who freed artificial intelligence from human control, we'll say. That's really vague, but the movie is really vague. At the beginning of the film, it talks about how there were all these breakthroughs in technology, specifically in artificial intelligence development and that kind of thing, and how a weapon was created by the United States that was completely run by artificial intelligence, and that one day the weapon went off and destroyed Los Angeles. And from then on, that was the beginning of the war between the human military, American human military, and forms of artificial intelligence. Specifically, like, I guess it's robots and cyborgs. And that these machines were also resisting being controlled by humans and were retaliating against the American military through espionage and acts of terrorism. So we're on a beach somewhere. It looks like boats are landing, and it's nighttime, and you can see people creeping up on the beach. Next thing you know, they're going into this house, and there are like two people laying in bed. Looks like husband and wife. And she's got the baby bump and all that. And the people wake them up and they're like, we gotta go right now. We just found some Americans sneaking around out here. It's a sign that they're here. We gotta go. There's this big laser that keeps scanning the land, preceding the boats coming in. So they bring the American in. They are molly-whopping that man. And they're like, look, he says he doesn't know anything. Let's just go. Let's just get out of here. And that's Joshua's character. John David Washington. That's his character. He's like, let's just go. Let's just get out of here. Let's go. So they all run out and leave. He tells his wife, Maya, he's like, go get the bag. We're going to leave. Go, go, go. So she runs out. Next thing you know, he's talking to the dude, and he's being referred to as like a comrade. And he's like, what are y'all doing here? Y'all are not supposed to be here. And he's like, we got word that the Creator is here. There was no way to stop it. Like, we were coming in regardless. Unfortunately, Maya came down the stairs way too early and heard that and realized that he's on their side. She's on the side of the robots. So she's like, I can't believe you lied to me. You know, they raised me. They took care of me. You know, how could you do this? And he's like, it's not real. They're just robots, you know. She runs after them, gets in the boat. The boats don't make it. There's a huge explosion. Everybody gets blown up. He's on the beach screaming. Next thing you know, he's back in America. He's in Los Angeles, and his job is to go into the irradiated part of Los Angeles and retrieve the robots still there. This is like years and years later. They're like clearing out this area. And his job is to like retrieve their bodies. And he had somebody working with him. And when they went to go get this robot, which you could see the skeleton of an adult-sized skeleton and a baby-sized skeleton in this car on one side, and this robot on the other side. And then he starts screaming about, are they okay? Are they okay? In a flash, I was like, oh my God. So the other person who's the tech, whoever her title is, she's with him. She starts freaking out, and he's like cutting wires and stuff. It powers off. And she's like freaking out. She's like, he sounded alive. He sounded so real. And he's telling her that it's not real. It's a robot. This is what the movie is the whole time. Okay, this is not Blade Runner. Okay, This is not Ghost in the Shell. This is a world where robots and cyborgs are completely integrated into society, and attack on America from that weapon started a media blitz of, we need to get away from using this type of technology. This is what happens, and it allowed the military to get funding for this enormous weapon that looks like the weapon that they were trying to build in that Captain America Marvel movie, only that one basically trying to collect all of this data via social media and determine who would be a threat to American freedom. But this is just a big old gun pointed down at the earth. The American military is performing these kinds of incursions and like planting spies all over the East in an attempt to find the members of these resistance like groups and like break them up, I guess, or just kill everybody. And Joshua, he was a part of one of those movements. Joshua is called back into service, and his job is to locate the weapon that the resistance is rumored to have. And this weapon was rumored to have been created by what they call the creator. And how they got him back into service, they had video footage of his wife Maya alive, and that was how they convinced him to go back in. So he's paired with like a small group of like special forces badasses that includes Allison Janney, aka Colonel Hal, and their job is to infiltrate their camp, find out where the weapon is, and destroy it or bring it back. So they infiltrate the camp, they find out where it is, they get caught, and there's a huge shootout. So it's like, we gotta go, we gotta keep this moving. Once this movie starts, like in terms of action and explosions and fight scenes and whatnot, it just keeps going. Joshua is there, he goes up to find the weapon, and the weapon is a kid, or what looks like a kid, watching TV. Of all things, there's like snacks, toys, television. So he ends up taking the kid out. Most of the team doesn't make it. It's basically them trying to sneak through this country. Well, him trying to sneak this kid through the country safely and back into the hands of the American military, and at the same time find his wife. So he ends up linking with his friend, the dude that got mollywopped, who apparently he stayed in the East and has completely changed his tune in that time. So he links up with him and he learns a little bit more about the kid's design and how it's different from other robots' designs. It's way more sophisticated, and she has the ability to influence basically anything that runs on electricity. Well, what she was doing was changing the channel on the TV, affect the power, little things at the beginning of the movie, and then bigger things as the movie goes on. In his journey to find his wife, like talking to people, finding out where her last location was, he ends up into the hands of the group that he had originally infiltrated. It was there that he learned the true identity of Alfie, or Alpha, and who created her. And he also ended up finding his wife Maya. Unfortunately, the American military also found them. Their goal is to get up on top of that giant weapon and destroy it. And she's the only one who has the ability to do that because of the way that it's designed. It's in space, y'all. They basically hijack a flight out into space. They make it onto this thing, cause mayhem and chaos, set off lots of explosions. Alfie makes it out. Joshua doesn't make it out, but a copy of his wife's neurodata, I guess, was saved, and Alfie managed to get a hold of it, and she found a blank form that had her mother's face on it and inserted this chip into the back of it. I guess the attempt was to bring her back, and it didn't seem like it worked. So she left her behind and she ended up escaping on a pod. Joshua was still stuck there. And as this huge structure is falling out of space, Maya's form wakes up. When she sees him, she immediately recognizes him and they do the run together. Crashes down, there's this huge, enormous explosion, and then Alfie emerges out of this thing on land. She's immediately recognized by the resistance, and that's how the movie ends. The story moves from the present and then a little bit into the past. Joshua is often reliving different parts of his relationship with Maya, how he met her, under what circumstances, which were lies, him marrying her, which was, I guess, part of the plan, but was like messed up, and then them finding out she's pregnant and her telling him things about her childhood, which was very intimate. It felt very relatable. However, the Terminator and the Terminator 2 is better than the creator. And you could fight me. From the beginning of this movie starting, when they said that we have a weapon of all weapons that's run totally on AI and it bombed the city of Los Angeles, destroyed the city of Los Angeles, and the media said that it was a declaration of war, and none of the AI, artificial intelligence of any kind, anywhere at that time that explosion happened, were ready to go. I was like, oh, okay, so they made that up. You're saying that this program acted on itself, bombed Los Angeles, nowhere else, and yet somehow it was a signal that the entire time all of these robots and cyborgs or whatever that use artificial intelligence were like lying in wait for a moment to strike and attack the American people and their freedoms. That didn't make no damn sense, especially because of when we go to the East and we see the state of the country and the economy and the culture and how it is totally integrated with artificial intelligence like robots and whatnot, trying to push this philosophical idea that a robot cannot have human feelings and emotions is totally separate from this idea that their artificial intelligence program is plotting on overthrowing humanity by committing acts of terrorism. Those are two completely different trains of thought, and I wish that we had fully developed either one of those ideas, but we didn't. We kind of got stuck in the middle. And I also didn't believe his wife was alive. I was just not convinced of that. We are in the age of advanced technology and uncivilized society. The fact that the footage was grainy, I was like, I don't trust it. I don't. Why do you trust it, man? And why is she walking around with both her arms and both her legs after that huge explosion? She was closer to it than he was. So I was like, no. The style is like very gritty, very like, one moment we're like Saving Private Ryan, and the next moment it's like the Terminator. And then next moment you got Alfie performing feats of magic. It was difficult to know, like, how are you supposed, like, overall I felt for Joshua because he loved Maya. Like, he really did. And he, I think, was at a point where he was genuinely seeing them having a life together, but also not enough to give up the ghost and tell her what's going on so that they could run away together. He'd been in their group for like a while and didn't have no idea who the creator was or any weapons or any ideas or anything. He could have been like, you know what? It's nothing here. We thought there was. Our info was wrong. So me and my wife and our baby gonna go off somewhere and be happy. Nope. He kept up the whole lie right up until it didn't matter anymore. Alfie and Joshua doing that emotional goodbye. Let me tell you who did a fantastic job acting. Alfie, Colonel Hal, Joshua, surprising, heartfelt performances. The details, the small details everywhere, I loved them. When Colonel Hal hooked up the simulant to that guy who had just died, that was fascinating. That delayed explosion thing where that girl with the pack was running towards a helicopter and she got hit with that thing and she fell and we thought she was dead, but then she popped right up and she like ran. Next thing you know, it starts beeping. I hate those things, but they show up in a lot of like war movies and stuff and science fiction movies. This delayed explosive thing, man, that was sad. That was sad because they got mowed down like a lawn. It was horrible. When the camp was under siege and that one robot, first of all, it looked kind of like a video game where the weapon would lock on you and it would put like an X over you. And as you ran away, you could see that shit. So the robot was trying to run away and he was running towards cover. There was like a little overhang, but there were kids under it. So he kind of like started to back away and then run in the opposite direction so the explosion wouldn't get him. And I was like, oh my God, that's so sad. But that was deep. And we got to see scenes with that character in it enough that we have an idea of their personality. Had very strong feelings about a lot of stuff. There was some like that character where it's a robot, but it has enough lines and is in enough scenes that you get a stronger sense of their personality. Whereas Heron, Ken Watanabe's character, was like just kind of mad and disappointed. And it's like, can you give me a bit more than that as a character? Show me what it is that you want from this. Like Drew's girlfriend, Cammy, she looked like super cool with the tattoos and everything and seemed sympathetic towards their situation. And at first I thought she was like a double agent, but she wasn't. She got. And that was sad. But it saved Alfie's life, so for the cause. But like Maya's character, we don't learn more about her till almost through the end of the movie. And this is a long movie. So we don't really learn the crucial bits about what drives her and the type of person that she was really until the very end. At the beginning, she just seemed like lost and like she fell in with the wrong crowd, basically. And it isn't until you get to near the end of the movie where you see her working and you realize that this is a brilliant scientist and that her whole life has been shaped by being cared for and raised by simulants. I kind of wish we'd have known that earlier. Like, it's all coming too late. It's all coming too late. I would give it a 3 out of 5, and I would recommend it because the action sequences are really good. The journey, the chase across the country is epic. Like, they come at Alfie and Joshua with everything that they got, and it's just sheer luck and a lot of people dying that keeps them from getting got earlier in the movie. The twist was not a twisty enough. I kind of figured out what was up way earlier because y'all just foreshadow it so heavily. That's just clear that that's what's going on. Do I think Colonel Howell had any children? No, I think she made it up. I think she made it up and worked Joshua for sympathy. Have you guys seen it? What did you think? Please let me know. Thank you so much for spending your time here with me today. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time.